Let's try to open this and see. Dude, look at that. Look at that. See, these boxes suck. I hate this style of box. In the future, you should throw a few of those into the retail box for the people that support you at retail. Maybe just barely afford, you know, for your $100+ some custom dice in their board game. I know. You know what, though? I bet they didn't make as much money selling, you know, 5 different kinds of dice to you like they do in the Zombicide ones. So I guess that's an unfortunate hit on their market here. You don't put a line across the booty, at least not horizontal. Nobody has a anyway. Yeah, moving on. All right, let's open this up and finally get a look at this. Very tiny cut. I don't want to cut anything underneath there. The more I unbox, the more professional I get, as you guys know. No struggles ever. Everything goes according to plan. See, just like that. According to plan. Planned to open it, and I did. And wow, that is like packed pretty flush there. Nothing here, so this could have had maybe a little wiggle. No, because I guess this was pushing down on it. Right, because this is this whole thing. So here's the art book. All of these are popped. Like, there's no... See if there's any... Oh, wait. I found one in the back. Nope. Yeah, this is... I guess the bubble wrap maybe did its job. I don't know. If it's all popped, does it still count? I got the Death May Die Unspeakable boxes of Kickstarter stuff. I love the art on here. Very unique looking for a board game, I feel. And then a whole bunch of padding stuff in there. And the core box itself. Yes, as you can see, I did not get any expansions or anything like that. If I like the game, I'll get some more in retail. Otherwise, I got the base game, got the core box, or the expansion box, or the Kickstarter box, if I could speak, and the art book. Now, I will say right now, this box is damaged. So yeah, I can see right here, it's been dinged into. Probably because I think this wasn't maybe centered, like maybe it was in like that. I don't know. I'm not sure how that happened. Where this box seems fine, this seems, you know, bent in, but whatever. All right, let's move this to the side. Move that over there. Get started with the core box here. Let's see, kind of a bummer. In fact, I want to say this might be the only box from Cool Mini or Not, or Come On, that I've received damaged. Normally they're pretty darn good with it. Though normally I order a lot more, so maybe that's punishment for not ordering more. It's like, oh, you only spent like $150 on this, or you know, whatever it ended up being. That's not nearly enough to do good shipping. I'm not sure. All right, so looking at the box, see right now the eyes. Oh gosh, how embarrassing! The eyes shining, very cool. Love the eyes. I don't know if you can see that on camera, but it's like reflecting. It actually has like a metallic look to it. And then the Death May Die here is also like that. Very cool. I do kind of dig that. Oh, I guess before I open, let's look at the back. Let's see how the back is. All right, and I got a nice little crease here by the looks of it. I don't know what happened to their boxes. My goodness. Oh, we got some miniature renders here. Plastic miniatures, good they call them miniatures, not figurines. Got a layout of kind of what a typical game might look like. And then some fluff. Dig that. Alright, age 14 plus, hobby gaming product, not a children's toy. It'd be an expensive children's toy. I thought, for whatever reason, I remember this being darker. Did they lighten this up with maybe some more bright green and kind of a greenish brown look here? I could have sworn that was darker on the Kickstarter, because I remember like you could almost just kind of make him out. Maybe that was a preview image. I don't know. Maybe you guys remember. See, almost closer to that, like if it was just that. All right, looks like we got our kind of player boards here. Let's go ahead and open those up. All right, let's start with the player boards here. Now, I like how big this is, and I love, again, kind of the art and the symbology and the background kind of looking symbols and lines and stuff like that. Really, really cool. The broken pieces of heart is very an interesting kind of design thing. I like seeing that too. This, and I don't remember for sure, looks like you set stuff in here. And my only problem with that is that this is flat. And so a knock on the table or a reach or something like that, and you can slide this crap all over the place. That's why double thick boards are so nice, or an overlay like they did in Claustrophobia or something like that. It really sucks when that happens. It just kind of, I don't know, to me it takes away a little bit of it. And I don't even require I don't know. I wonder if there's a way to do, you don't have to do like double thick, cardboard or anything like that. Obviously they're not doing cardboard here, but just a little bit of a lip to where it doesn't pull around like that. Or, just I don't know. I guess what I'm trying to say is I can't open this. No, what I'm trying to say is that maybe a common area where you do something, or I don't know. It's something, if I were to design a board game, I would keep in mind. These are physical products. We're not playing this on, Tabletopia or anything like that. I bought a board game, so I needed to actually work as that, and it can be, I don't know. I'm tired of putting this as a negative in my reviews, really, I think is what I'm saying. When I review this, you'll probably hear me talk about this, because it can just be kind of a bummer. I see kind of a line here on this one. I do like... Sister Beth over here looks like she'd be great at a party. She's holding like a sawed-off shotgun, like a dagger, and then she's just got like her hip poking out there, with kind of her on a tiptoe in the back, like she's like it's like she's swaying over to Cthulhu or something like that. That's funny. Adam, Rasputin. Now I will say a lot of these, in my opinion, looked rather static. I mean, he has a T pose with bent elbows, right? Otherwise, he's kind of the same. Again, she's standing straight up. She's standing straight up. Love the colors, though. Okay, he is actually moving, so that's good. He's got the cape out and the briefcase out and everything like that. It's kind of nice to see. A little bit more of a pose there. I like the kind of bent back and then forward like that, especially looking down slightly. That's kind of nice. Ian, again, kind of the same pose, I would say, as this, right? I think they're fairly similar, just kind of mirrored a little bit. Slightly different, but the whole one arm out, one arm forward kind of thing is very common. Again, just kind of it looks like she's just walking around. He's posing for a picture. Very much not an action shot. And then Sister Beth has seen the most action, if you know what I mean. I think she's definitely in an action pose there. Not really. Just slightly. It's like they take the basic thing, you pop that hip out, you bend the elbows, you're good to go. Kind of boring designs there, in my opinion. All right. Now we got the Death May Die rulebook. This is a weird shaped rulebook. I don't know what it is about rulebook shapes, but they always make me kind of, I don't know. This seems very like they made it thinner, but they made it thinner by making it super, it's like really wide and square and odd. And like it feels so flimsy because it's so thin and so big that, I don't know, I'm doing terrible phrasing today, but it just, I don't know, it's kind of weird. Yes, this is just huge. Okay, so we got a component list with images. That's great to see. We got a table of contents. Oh man, you guys cannot see that, can you? Okay, there you go. You can see it at an angle like this. So you got the table of contents. Like seeing that. That's nice. And I already see index listed here. I'll have to take a look at that. Love the component list with the images. And what I can say is, even though not all of CMON's rulebooks are written well, I'm looking at you, Rise of Moloch, and they don't always do a good job of necessarily teaching the game. It's hit or miss, it just depends on the game. They do a great job at really putting a professional upfront view of it when it comes to stuff like this. Not enough people do this. I don't want just a list of stuff. Like, show me what it is you're talking about. Like, that's super useful. And then we got, let's see, kind of blurb, big art, big arrows and images, and showing kind of what everything looks like. And it looks like it starts at a high level and gets deeper. I like that style of rulebook. We're just going super high level. Looks like here you're breaking down the components and just kind of discussing bits of them. Oh man, that's creepy. What the heck's that? What's going on there? And then I'm assuming eventually we're going to get into like actual... okay, so here we're now it's set up. So the first part looks like it's like high-level stuff. About 10 pages of that, 8-ish, or even 7 or something like that. Pages of kind of big, high-level stuff. And then even still, we have dice and checks yet. I haven't read anything or seen anything about like any actions. Here we go, turn sequence on page 12. I don't know, I'll have to read it and see. It doesn't look like it's super heavy in text, but ideally I like seeing some of this first, at least knowing what like how a turn looks like before I start reading the intricacies of like, where is it at? Dice checks. Like, I don't care about dice checks until after I know how to move in a game, my opinion. Okay, so it looks like we got 17, 18, 19 pages here of rulebook. And on the 19th page, we have an index. It is an index, and I know it is because it has actual lists of numbers. So that's great to see. I like seeing that. That's good. All right, and then kind of a rule summary on the back. Quick reference on this flabby, weirdly shaped rulebook. All right, we're getting there. We're getting there. Next up, we have this thing. Or some wall art. No, this is, I'm sure, for something. I just don't know exactly what. I know you're progressing here. I think this is where you put your Cthulhu, and as he gets over here, then he's able to release. Let's see, your episode card would go here. Any monsters that come with that episode there, because this is all in like, one of the cool things about this is they have like these envelopes or whatever that are like, these are the episodes, and they come with all the stuff they need, and it just looks really cool. All right, and it looks like, and I don't think Kaban always does this, but they wrapped their cardboard. I think a lot of times it's loose. So that's kind of interesting. I always wonder, I believe why they do that isn't even for like shipping or anything like that. I believe it's a manufacturing thing where these are made either somewhere else or at a different location, or either way, they're made and then moved and packaged, and so they're kind of bound together so there's not just a whole bunch of loose ones where you could package it wrong. My understanding could be completely wrong. I might have made that up, but my understanding is that's really why it is. It's not really to, necessarily like keep it from warping or sitting in the same spot or anything like that. I will say this is like falling out from the back, so this might be pretty darn good. Let's see. A little bit of a push there. Get some of the tags here. Tags, borderline non-existent. A little one here you can kind of see. But otherwise, pretty good. They don't feel super premium. Like the card stock itself seems a little light and airy. It's not super compressed or anything like that. Right? I mean, you can see kind of the layers here and everything. And yeah, I mean, it's good. The color on it seems really nice. The detail on it seems good. I'm not a huge fan of the more reflective kind. You see how that reflects? And that's just because when it's on the table, sometimes you get a little bit of a reflection. You can't really see all the detail that's there. I don't know if it's just this type of linen finish that they have on it or what, but not the biggest fan of that. I will say, though, that these tags are pretty darn good. I'm quite happy with that. There is a little number here. It's a little hard to see, but that's all right. It means it's kind of out of the way and you don't notice it a lot. It looks like, for the most part, these are fairly... unique in size. See how that just popped right out? I do like that. They did a great job on the cutting here. Whatever kind of technology used to cut these, I am a fan of. This is not bad at all. This is good. This is no problem. Great. Love it. All right, let's see. Are there any other kind of weird ones I should poke out? Or maybe one of these. Yeah, looks good. Nice thickness to it. I do like that. Yes, it just like falls out. I want to make a mess. And it looks like more and more and then more. And this big one over here. Let's take this big one out. See if we got any warpage or not. If so, it'll probably show up on this big one the easiest. Get all this out of the way. Let's take a look. We'll find out. All right, over there you go. Move away. Let's see, I need something flat. Why don't we use this box? Okay, and we're just kind of looking to see if there's any sort of warping or bowing anywhere. And to be honest, this looks pretty darn good. Like, there might be a little bit. Yeah, so right here, you can kind of maybe see the reflection move a little bit. But right, or I'll put it sideways like this. There we go. Maybe you can see it there. So a little bit where it like pops up right here, just slightly. Just slightly. Not a big deal. That won't affect the miniatures. The reason I check that is because sometimes you can get them where they're kind of really bowed and they're curved at the ends, and then your miniatures like slide on them. I've had it that bad. I think my Shadows of Brimstone came with a few like that. This is just slightly. And this is the biggest one. Hopefully it doesn't get bigger. I did just open it, so we'll have to see. You know what? I'll let you guys know. When I go to edit the video, I will tell you if this ends up any worse or not after leaving it kind of in the air for a little bit. All right, back to this. Back to this. I will say on here that the glue job is very nice. It's very clean all the way around, and I'm not seeing any like portions where they didn't quite glue it. So a lot of times in the corner here, let me see if I can show you without putting my hand in the way. It'll come from like here to here, and it won't go all the way to the corner. So there'll be a little bit of a lip here. So like right here, you'll be able to, you could actually like lift up on it kind of thing, right? And air and dust can get in there and just kind of slowly peel away. You'll see in some of your older boxes probably this starts coming up, and it's because it gets in there. So the flatter this is, the better and longer I think it'll last. Also, it's really smooth, like really smooth. All right, I almost thought there was no lid on that. All right, let's see here. This is well organized. I am digging this. Like, everything is just... Come on. Come on. This is great. Like, I just like how... Like, well, that it looks like this is maybe the loosest thing in here. That's just put together really well. I dig that. All right, well, let's go ahead and open one of these... packets just so we see. So this is kind of your scenarios, right? This is a scenario. I mean, first of all, I think this is great, and I love this kind of modular kind of system there. One of the reasons I like dungeon crawlers and games like this is because when they're scenario based, you get a different experience each one. I will play these and have a favorite or two where, like, I really liked episode 3 and episode 5. Those were my favorites. Why? Well, because I was fighting against these monsters with these rules, with these cards and these objectives. When things can change from objective to, or from mission to mission, it adds a lot of variety to the game's the same. It's the same game, same core concept, same kind of feel, but and you're getting different flavors of it, right? It's kind of like having one bowl of cereal your whole life. That's one of the more kind of Euro style games where it's this is the game, that's what you do, and you do it every single time the exact same way, and whoever did it better wins kind of thing. This is very much a entire cereal aisle, right? Where you can have your Fruit Loops and your Fruity Pebbles, the gross, your Cheerios, your Life cereal, whatever you want. Really cool. And it kind of has a theme here too. Either way, geez, I'm talking too much instead of actually unboxing. So let's go ahead and open this up. But no, I really like this idea, and I think it's a really, really smart idea. Now this, all right, do you see what's happened so far here? Not quite as fun. I would have probably preferred a normal box versus this, because right here, this happens like 90% of the time, where it just gets stuck in there. And so this is going to get all bent and dumb and gross and nasty, especially when I play it more than once, which is kind of a bummer. Very tightly packed in there. So in there, you're going to get some... Well, this should be fun. Now, I'm all for getting tokens, but once I punch these out, hopefully they still fit in here okay. That's always my worry. So let's see here. We got some fire tokens. I'm not going to bother punching those out yet. It looks to be the same thickness and everything of what I punched out before. Some more tokens here. Lab tokens, I think they called them. You have your monsters. In which case, it's one card. It's not two separate cards. That's interesting. I thought they were going to be two separate ones. It's just one. Thickness actually seems quite good. I'm happy with it at this size. That seems fine. It doesn't feel like paper per se. It's kind of got a nice gloss coat to it all. And even the sides feel really smooth. I can't tell like any cut marks or anything like that. So it looks good there. And the coloration looks good. They stand out really well. I like that. All right, then we got a tiny little kind of scenario setup thing where you're seeing how to set up the map. And then after you set it up, you flip it over and it looks like you have your objectives and stuff like that. Very cool. And then you got some cards here. Yeah, let's go ahead and open some of the cards because I haven't yet. So this looks like your more standard sized cards. Like probably items and stuff like that I would imagine are like this. Oh man, if I can even open this. All right. Fire vampire. Oh no, not fire vampires. All right, so here are kind of the cards. Again, I'm not going to open the later ones, just the first ones. They're the Mythos cards here. These feel really skinny. I imagine they're actually the same thickness, but I guess it's the smaller scale. It feels very flimsy. It's quite rigid, and so they don't have a lot of bend to it, but I worry that also means that they could get bent easily. I don't know. I don't recall if you're shuffling. If you're not shuffling cards, it's typically not a huge deal how thin or skinny they are. But if you're holding this, and if you have a hand of cards, or if you're interacting or manhandling with the cards in any way, you kind of want, just them to be nice. So hopefully they're not handled too much. And then this one, I remember this. This is cool, where you get to like pick which one you're doing, right? And so you get one or the other, and I like that. That's an interesting part of the game. It's little things like that, right? You could have just had this where they were double the amount, right? Where you just had all of these options and then you had to pick. You could then pick just as many, right? If they could have this and this, and if they had, come on, get out of here. Whatever, if there's 12 here, there's not, but if there's 12 here, you could have 24, right? You have just as many options. You'd end up the same. But game mechanic wise, when you have to pick one or the other, right? When you actually have to decide, I want that instead of that, and you're faced with, it's one of these, you have to do one, which one are you doing? That to me is just a lot more interesting. It's a very smart game mechanic. I feel the same about these as I do about the bigger cards here. They seem fine. All right, so that's everything you get in at least this one. I'm sure each one's a bit different composition-wise, but for the most part, looks like you're going to be getting some enemies and whatever. I'll get in there. There we go. And it fits in very nice unpunched. I always got to wonder how the punching works on that. All right, so we saw that. Let's go ahead and get this out. A black tray, yes. All right, so here's some cards here. I'm not going to open these because, well, actually, maybe I will, because these don't seem like they're very linen. These might be different style. I'm trying to remember if those are linen or not. You guys are paying more attention than me, probably. I like black trays because you can see the shape of them a lot more. The clear trays, kind of you lose sense of where the shape is. I'll explain that a bit. Love the splash of color here. The color here is, look at that, it's actually really good. This stands out well. I like that a lot. That's great. Very nice. Very clean looking. Very easy to read. On the skinnier side than I would prefer, just like the other ones. But color and art, I like that. Except now, hopefully there's a place for them because I don't want them just loose like that. Hopefully there's a spot to actually put those after I've opened it. One of the big problems with these storage things is, as good as they are designed, if they're designed for the shipment and not for my storage in the coming days, then a little bit less. But, I mean, they did think of this, so that's kind of nice. All right, looks like, okay, so there is a slot here, so they are just going to kind of be loose. I would have preferred them to be inside the lid, especially because you can get a solid 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of them flying off. Just, especially when it's like completely level. At least this one's going to be sliding. I can guarantee that, especially because I store mine like this, so it's going to be, you know, vertical. All right, is there tape? Yes. Let's solve that. Got that one. Got that one. Got that one. Okay, so that's the one. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Getting goosey here now. All right, I think that's probably good. Okay, so we got a flat lid here, but it looks fairly flush, especially with the base sticking out. In fact, I want to say you're almost touching that. This baggie here's out a little bit. I'm not going to open these up. I will say that the coloration is nice on these. I can tell all the colors apart. Being slightly colorblind, I appreciate that. And they are the hard bases, not the soft rubbery kind. Then we have dice, and unlike CMON's Zombicide games, they actually decided they could maybe just barely afford, you know, for your $100+ some custom dice in their board game. I know. You know what though? I bet they didn't make as much money selling, you know, 5 different kinds of dice to you like they do in the Zombicide ones. So I guess that's an unfortunate hit on their market here. Very scuffed up when it comes to marks. Like I don't even know what that mark there is. Not sure. Do you guys see that? Yeah. So I don't know what that is exactly. Ooh. Okay. Anyway, so let's see here. Let's look at this. So these dice, I have seen better. I'm going to be honest here. Like this is obviously a painted in, and you can see where it's kind of already chipped a little bit there. This is nice and solid. Not quite as clean cut as I'd like on some of these. The starkness of it is nice. It's a very good white. These seem better. Do you see the problem here? So on the sides here, so like this chipped here, and then this is a little overflowing here. And so you get, maybe you can't even see that. I don't even know. Let me try. There you go. Maybe you can see it. I can see it. It's black here and then white on the edges there. Just you know, I appreciate that they are unique and interesting, and the symbols look good. It's easy to tell the difference. I don't know what they all mean, but anyway, zoom back in. There you go. Okay, so we're just gonna put that in there for now. And actually, there you go. Take that. Miniature time. Now, I will show these in a round table. You will see them in better detail. This is just going to be me. Let me zoom in a little bit. This is just going to be me reacting to these miniatures. So, you know, no promises on how much I'm turning it around or anything like that. Again, you'll see them in better lighting, good close-up detail at the end of the video. She'll be fun to paint because I remember all the colors on her. These are very well put here. It looks like the base is quite flat and fairly thick, which is nice. Actually kind of a sharp point to the dagger, like that actually, I can feel that. The fact that the hands, the fingers are all well sculpted here. The cards, the individual cards showed up well, so she's got 2 cards there. I like seeing that. Love the headband. And a lot of times when you get like a headband and decorations and stuff like that, it's lost in the hair. This is not, partly because the hair looks like Super Saiyan 3 style hair, or it's like these big kind of chunks to it. Actually, as an anime lover, I guess I appreciate that styling of hair anyway. The one bummer here is there's no texture here, so this is just flat. Ideally, it would have been textured down here as well instead of just completely flat here. That's a bummer right there. But otherwise, this looks pretty good. Very minimal mold lines. You can see where it like would have been. Ruffles on her sleeve look good. I like that the dagger's held backwards too. Yeah, no, she looks great. Definitely, you know, flat on the X-plane here, right? So one single cast was really able to get her, which is good for CMON, and it's still an interesting enough sculpt where I'm happy with it. She does have toes, by the way, so props on that. Some good texture here as well. Yeah, no, I think she turned out great. right here. See, here's what I'm talking about. Like, he is ultimate T-pose, even with the legs together. This is like your bog standard pose with the elbows bent up. He is slightly leaning back, which is gives him a little bit more natural thing, but having his feet together still seems kind of odd. If his mouth was open and he was like shouting or chanting something, I would maybe think he was in some kind of ritual to, conjure up this magic, which is very well sculpted. I love these on here. That's great. And a really good coat here too. It even has the line here where the button would go into. And that's pretty amazing that it has that tiny little detail there. I really do like that. But yeah, I mean, his legs just straight up like that is, I think, the most unfortunate part of this miniature. It's just hard to get super excited when, you have a cool concept. Like from here up, awesome. From here down, as boring as you could get miniature wise. The creases on here. So you see how exaggerated the creases are here? They're not excessive in the amount, but the creases are definite. So they'll show up on a wash and a highlight really, really well. I'll look at a few more here. I'm not going to look at all of them. Let's look at the nun here. Okay, so her feet are back a little bit. Again, like all of them, they're just kind of flat on the plane here. And so they're one half, and then you're good to go. The chains here, very tiny and very well detailed, which I appreciate. Glasses are hard to do on a miniature. I'm surprised they did that. It's going to be hard to paint that, especially at this scale. Glasses a lot of times just ends up looking like goggles. And so we'll see how that works there. Detail on the gun is good. Fingers, as I said, good. Not nearly as sharp of a point on the dagger here as it was on hers. You can see the difference in how sharp it is. This is much more round. Kind of unfortunate. I would have liked to see it done on both. Otherwise though, very natural flowing clothes on her. Made it look really good. This is not broken. He has a missing arm, so don't ask for replacements on him for that anyway. I love that he's coming off the base a little bit here. I actually appreciate when they use the whole base. So it makes the base seem more like a piece out of the game board versus a frame or a stage for him to stand on, like this guy. So I do appreciate that. I like this one a lot. I like that he's kind of bent over a little bit. Arm on. He's definitely like with a determined look. His neck straight up like that, definitely going out. Whereas, again, this guy's just standing there. He's just standing, just posing. Not very actiony. They did a great job, however, on the hat. Doing these hat brims are very hard because you have to have either a really good quality of plastic mix to where you can keep it this thin, or you have to thicken it up, in which case it looks dumb. So they obviously did some good. They have some good plastic here, and that tells me just from this rim here how well that is, because otherwise it would look kind of silly. The different layers show up good. There's a little tiny bit of just kind of flatness here. Ideally, we would have had one line here just to make it look like rope. I know it's, again, single cast, so this is going to be flat here. But again, just one line here to show a coil, I think would have gone a long way. But otherwise, looks good. All right, should we do one more? Let's see. Well, I guess I comment on this guy, so we'll do this. So same kind of thing where he's using the whole, you can kind of see the similarities here. Definitely a difference in bent knee, and they swamped the leg that's back. But in fact, the way the foot is positioned up here is pretty much mirror imaged. In fact, it looks like they were pretty much wearing the same shoes too, just about. The tops of them are different, but otherwise they have the same amount of heel and pretty much the same angle for the most part. They're very, very similar, obviously. But I do appreciate kind of the billowing out here. You can tell he kind of just moved his arms out, and that's kind of moving with it. And again, the detail in the back of or just in the pants in general, really, really nice like that. This is solid here, which, is, I mean, it is what it is. There's nothing you can do about it. I'm always bummed when I see it, but you'd have to really do a lot of work to sculpt around it. Great detail. I can see his ears, his cheekbones, Nose has actually little tiny nostrils there. Mouth, very small details, but very good. I like that. All right, let's move on from the characters. Again, you'll see more later. And, ooh! Don't worry, I'll fix it. Fixed. All right, underneath that, I got a bag of minis here. Let's see, what do we got here? We got different colored squiggly tentacle things. Yeah, these are nice. Anytime we get these kind of nice quality 3D pieces versus a token, I really like. And I highly suspect this is what goes on the player boards. All right. Moving right along. All right, so we got, looks like 2 copies of each one here. So we got this guy here. Okay, so again, a little bit of assembly here, right? This is a little bit more advanced. You can see the line goes up here and then all the way down there. It's actually quite well assembled. Putting it at a ridge plate like this is smart because that shadow could just be, oh, that's just a different plate, kind of like right here and right here. A little bit more exaggerated, but it still works. You wouldn't necessarily have to clean that up at all. And this is actually pretty minimal too. They did a great job gluing this and all that. Now, I will say painting wise, it's gonna suck to paint in there. If you want to paint that, good luck. Painting in here, it's gonna be kind of difficult. This is not even super bendy, so you can't even necessarily bend them out. Texture in here, very minimal. It's very shallow here. This will not catch a wash at all. Make sure that's in focus there for you. So like right here, good. This will catch a wash. And then it just gets super kind of smooth out here. Which again, it maybe means to, but that transition is very hard to actually see. You'll have to paint in that transition a little bit. Detail on all these little things are good. Detail on this weird sucker mouth thing is good. Again, good luck painting in here. This is going to be one of the very hard paint jobs here. It would have been easier disassembled, that's for sure, but you know, it is what it is. Detail here, these little tiny details, like right here, are not, I mean, it's just, you're gonna have to paint that on. It's not gonna really hold a wash super well. It's just too shallow. It's some of these nuances in the armor plating, same thing. Wings are well done here, I like that. There is a mole line going up here. It would have been nice if it had been on this one versus this one. I don't know how possible that would have been. I imagine just by flipping the, you know, however you split it, because he's looking this way. This is the front of him. So having in the front versus the back half of the symmetrical miniature, I think would have been better. That being said, I like the pose of him on his tail and all that. He looks cool. All right, moving on to this guy. Now this guy has some great texture, I can tell you that right now. So he is assembled, his head is assembled on there, it pokes out too much, otherwise he is very symmetrical. Kind of a boring pose, again, not very action, he's just kind of chilling there, snarling at somebody. Maybe he's like, you stole my ice cream, or something like that. Kind of the look I think he's giving you. Sculpted eyes, which I do appreciate, and a deep hole in the mouth, which makes it actually a little bit more creepy. I love the little kind of beak thing he has there. Great texture on here. This will show up a lot of texture very nicely with just a dry brush, I feel. He looks fairly well seated. He's got a little bit of a space here underneath his foot. It could have been pushed down a little bit more, but otherwise good. I love the full holes in his wings. Yeah, I'm happy with this one. This one is, again, this texture here, actually really, really good. This one's, I like it. Sculpt, I think, could have been better animated, but they're going for definitely the kind of flat miniature look here, from what I can tell so far. All right, did I cut that okay? Let's see. No, yes. All right, now underneath here, we have a cheat sheet of where they go. So Come On keeps doing this. Now I appreciate it, and in this one I think it's less of a deal, where they have it like it's a reference that you kind of have to look. In other words, instead of having it like, instead of just marking the trays or doing something like that, like they have numbers here, just imprint the number in there. But instead, they do this thing where they have the picture, which I like the picture layout, but then they double side it, so you can't ever see both at the same time. I would prefer to have, you know, two versus the flipped one, but is what it is. This one so far doesn't look that complicated anyway. Let's look at some of the red ones. Sometimes people will say that the different color of a miniature matters. Like, I've seen a lot of people on monolith ones say, oh, the blue ones turned out better, the gray ones turned out better. The color they add to the plastic does not change the plastic at all. The plastic's a plastic. If the blue end up a little bit better, it's because the blue just happened to have better sculpt process to them or something, a better tooling or whatever, and it doesn't really have much to do there. Again, flat on the X. Okay, this is what it looks like we're going to have to expect here for the most part. Very much standing there, kind of pointing. It looks like he's definitely yelling at somebody versus pointing. He actually has kind of a similar thing going on with him, right? They're both kind of turned their head to the right and their mouths are open with this kind of round mouth hole thing going on. Though at least this guy is moving his hands, so he's not just standing there kind of hunched shoulder, just kind of being silly there. Like the detail on the book, it's open. You can definitely write some stuff there if you paint it. Good detail there. I like the buttons. This right here got a little soft here. I don't really see really what this is supposed to be. It looks very muddy to me. I like that his feet are poking out of his robe at least. Though to do that, they made the robe like longer on the front, and then it's more obviously shorter in the front than the back. It's kind of an odd choice. All right, now we're gonna look at this guy here, and again, same kind of thing. Head moved to the right with his mouth open. That seems to be what everybody is doing. That's just the thing to do now is look to the right and yell. But great hand detail here. Like he's got his whole like kind of thumb area here and a palm and defined fingers and thumb, which I like. That looks good. It's all positioned really well. Some big mold lines here. This will need to be a lot of cleanup. I wonder if they're all like that. Let me check. Yeah, so they're all like that. It looks like too. So right here, there's quite a bit of a lip. Hopefully you can see that now. If not, you'll be able to later. Love the robe laying down here. That looks nice. Yeah, no, I like this guy. All right, let's look at, looks like two different sculpts here. We got this guy, Mr. Sharkman. I like his little like tongue in there. Okay, again, textures are really good everywhere. I do like that. Around the teeth area here, looks like it gets a little muddy, a little bit lost. Otherwise pretty okay. And then of course we have a mold line even down on the thumb, because why not? But it's pretty minimal. Yeah, I like this guy. Pretty good. And this guy here, he's also looking to the right, but up and not yelling. So at least there's that. I like the pose, but man, it's gonna be hard to paint in there. Like good luck painting the inside of his arms there. It's gonna be kind of difficult. Good texture. You can tell the difference between the like fur and then the skin. So the patchy fur is going to actually look really cool if you painted it up. Very nice. All right, like him. All right, so that is tray number 1. All right, hold on. Let me put the cheat sheet in there. And then maybe if we can do this, let's see. Oh man. I got caught on some tape. Stupid tape. There we go. There we go, maybe. Oh man. You see, this cheat sheet sucks. I told you it does. Now this tape sucks. Especially when you don't remove it all the way. Oh, come on, get off of me. Got it. Oh my gosh. Alright. Finally. No easy task. Put the lid on. Plop it back in there. Wait, there's nothing else under there, right? No. Maybe. So now we're getting caught on everything else. Oh my goodness. Guys, this is not easy. Too crammed in there, yes. Alright, let's do one at a time this way. Looks like that's the way to go. And take all of this tape off. I was not going to while filming, but it's not going to. This will keep sticking on everything. There we go. All right. I can get this tape off of my fingers, I swear. All right. Tape's off. Let's look at these guys. Again, we got like tape galore here. Let me actually just try peeling it off this time, because cutting it did not save me any time. I don't know if that did the trick or not. Probably not. There's still some here. My goodness. I swear. I'm gonna cut it anyway. Just hopefully this one did it better. Alright. Oh! Forgot to put this thing on the other piece. I want to do that later. You guys don't have to suffer through that. Alright, first things first. Tentacle Man. Yeah, so again, texture here I think is great all the way through. It just looks really, really good here. There is some assembly here, and well, it looks like it mostly fits the fold. It should look better painted. You could kind of even this out a little bit more, especially some of these like ridges here. It almost looks like it didn't quite push in all the way. So you got a little bit of a flat wall here that I might fill in with some putty or something like that. But yeah, texture. Oh, this is just gross back here. That's just disgusting everywhere. There's so many of them, and it's nasty. And there's some on the end here too. And mold lines though are, I mean, this is gonna take a while to clean up just because there's so much of it. It's on each and every single one. It's kind of going the whole way down. Kind of a bummer. This was, I mean, this took a lot of assembly. This was actually quite a bit. Again, I love that it comes past the base here. So this is the base. So it's like, it's almost, again, like it's moving through, and this is just a chunk of the earth or the ground you had to take out to capture it, right? And then all this is just hanging out. But this part looks gross. I like this one though. Very cool. Again, these are gonna be so they're gonna be so hard to paint. Like who wants to? Yeah, good luck highlighting in there. Is this attached? I think that's attached. It is, which makes it kind of secure. This is attached as well. But my goodness, this hurts my hands to hold. Great detail here. If you wanted to know how bones should look like on a miniature, look at that. That is fantastic. Very well done. Very good texture. Dry brushing that is going to look awesome. And here, the plate differences here look great. The bumps here, texture here, fairly minimal. Just needs a little bit of a highlight. In fact, I think it's supposed to be a little more smoother here. Teeth look good. Mold line looks like right down the middle there. And then down here, though luckily you only need cleanup, I think maybe just kind of the big parts here, but otherwise I think here you're good. I really like this one. This one came out, I think, really, really well. Even if thinking about painting it makes me cringe. I don't know what it is, but Come On can do some really good miniatures when they want to. Got some more tape. And so we got two of these guys, and again, off on both sides. So I like that it, again, is kind of outside of this. I will say it is kind of odd that it's not really using these to walk. It's I guess sliding on its like slug portion or something like that, because like only two of these I think are even touching the ground. That's kind of odd. Are they both like that? Is it just how they glued it, or yeah, no, that's just how they are. Yeah, kind of interesting. I think it would have been cool to see it like skittering Well assembled, a big nasty mold line there, but otherwise looks pretty good. Great textures. This will take a wash. That'll be fine. Good texture here, obviously. This texture here won't survive a primer plus a paint, I don't think. Very, very fine, but it might help maybe make it less smooth. This texture though is really good too, and then it gets smooth up here, and that's fine. Yeah, I like this. I like these. These guys are cool. All right, well, we are making progress. 2 more to go. Let's do Hastur, which I think I like more than Cthulhu, but we'll do Cthulhu last. Again, I very much dislike these kind of boxes. When I unbox them in Oko Chronicles, I said the same thing. They just, it's a weak point of the whole thing, that's for sure. We've seen these. Comes with some tokens and stuff too. All that jazz. Let's go ahead and just take this whole thing out. And I'm sure it's taped. Why not? Let's tape all the things. Cut that. Interesting enough, while these are black, this is clear. So we have clear and black mixed in. I'm sure it's fine because this is obvious where it goes. However, I will say, oh look, this comes with some people anyway, that it bothers me. Not the best plastic in the world, but decent. It's not like super crinkly, so that's all right. No negative marks there. It just like stick with black or go clear. I don't care which, but you're killing me. Come on, mixing them up like that. All right, so here's kind of the people coming with it. It looks like some masked chicks with Tommy guns, because sure, why not? Yeah, no, she looks fine. She's also looking to the right, but she's not screaming. At least, I don't know why everybody's looking to the right. That is a very weird copy-paste issue here that I keep noticing. All right, is Hastur looking to the right? No, Hastur's looking straight. This is just a cool mini. This was one of my favorites. Just all of these tentacles coming out and the bubbly textures here and the veiny textures here, and then obviously the yellow kind of faceless robed person here just looks cool. Love all the teeth. This is a nice one, and there's like barely any base to this, which I appreciate. In fact, they could have probably just kept this off the base. I'm fine. I like the consistency of the base, don't get me wrong, but this would have totally stood as just a miniature on its own without the base. Very, very cool. Love the tattered robes here. If I were to paint one, I think this might be the first one. What do you guys think? Which one would you paint first? Which one do you think I should? I'm open to discussion, but I really do like that one. That is a cool looking mini. All right. Put it back in. So these guys almost look like they bring their own rules, and that's right. If I remember correctly, it's a combination between this and this. So there's a lot of kind of variables that can make each game unique, which is kind of fun. Let's try to open this and see. Look at that. Look at that. See, these boxes suck. I hate this style of box. I get it's the most common, but it's just always a bummer when you... Just to open it up, you end up bending it and creasing it and struggling with it. I prefer just a nice lid. All right, and then we got, this guy over here. And again, love the tentacles coming out of him like that. He is at least reaching out in a semi-action kind of pose. Like he might either just be one of those walkers that move their arms a lot, or he's actually reaching out. Again, love this stuff coming out. All the eyes look cool. The tiny wings are nice. The stretched skin is a great idea. The very big plodding feet look cool, though it is super flat on the bottom there. It's okay, but I would have liked at least some texture there or something. So if it's just kind of being ignored. But this is what we're after. This is a decent size. This is essentially a Prince from Hate, if you've seen that. Both, I think, in what looks to be quality and size. Now, he's also reaching out, again, with his right hand. I can understand them being right-handed. Much longer tentacles here. All of the eyes, big, multiple ridged forehead here. The wings are not symmetrical, which I like, so they're going off different ways. Good texture. This is a great guy too. Man, though, highlighting all these individual pustles and crap takes some time. Be worth it though. Looks very cool. All right, I like him too. Well, that is everything you get in the core game. Before, oh, that lid even go on? It's like there's no end here. See, let's go ahead and look at the art book before we go into the Kickstarter exclusives. Maybe. Oh, see, look at this. Look what happened. Gosh dang it. Again, can you just do a normal box? You know, square with a lid on it. That seem that hard? Oh, see, it's gonna do that over and over again. Gosh dang it. Okay, I'm gonna try and maybe put this in first. See if that'll work. It's a terrible box. There. Don't take those out again. Once you open it, just open the lid. That's some crap right there. So, I guess summary of this, good layout, crappy box. And I hate tape. Alright, hopefully this didn't get too scuffed up and it's very flat, unpopping bubble wrap. We will see. Alright, it's actually still wrapped, so let's go ahead and do that. That being said, I don't really see any marks, so I think we may have done good there. You can tell, by the way, she has not held a gun. Like, she's just like waving it around like, "What'd you say, Betty?" Like, it's weird. Like, she's just looking over her shoulder, kind of waving her gun around. Some maniac. That's who's gonna stop Cthulhu, is that person? It should be interesting. Okay, so again, this is how dark I remember it. I remember it like this, so I think they lit it up because I remember this. So it's super dark. You could mainly just see the eyes and kind of the hint of the shape, which I loved. I love that. I think it would have been great if they had kept that versus this. I actually prefer this. I think it would have been much more stark and contrasty if it was this darker. It's whatever. I'm sure they did some kind of weird market research with some, focus groups or whatever to, how many more copies can they sell at retail with one that's not as dark. But I liked the dark. I think that's great with just the eyes. That's awesome. That's killer for me. All right. So how many pages we got? Okay. Well, look at that. We got the kind of art print right there on the inside, which is very nice. Looks like 120 pages. Hardcover, very flat. And then, see, that just sets the mood. That's really cool. I like that. I love the kind of black and white look to it as well. It's weird when their faces look kind of real. All right, so again, very dark. Is that the same thing as here? It is, but you can see a lot more here. It's a lot more lit up than here. Elder Ones, Monsters, Cultists, Investigators, Insanities, and Credits. That is not dead, which can eternal lie, and with strange aeons, even death may die. I dig it. Yeah, see, that's what I'm talking about there. Because we got them on all sorts of different ones. So here's, see, I love seeing the behind-the-scenes stuff, some ideas on how the box would look. Love the little blurbs where you can read about different things. Very small on the blurb here stuff, right? And not a whole lot of written text, but enough to kind of make it interesting to, just kind of peruse around and read about and see. I like doing these because I like to look at them when I'm thinking of what to paint color-wise, because typically a lot of the art will be covered up in game with some stuff. The only problem with getting an art book for that is a lot of times they'll print it and it'll end up a little bit darker or color shifted. It just won't be quite color accurate. But between this and the digital version, I tend to get a good judgment on how I want to paint everything. That being said, yeah, these are looking really, really cool. See, that looks really dark. And that's a really cool miniature. So like making those, I think, the hand and the foot stand out a bit more might be nice. Yeah, see, painting him like one color would be a unfortunate thing. And you know, this is, I think, what soured me a little bit on this. I saw this with Invader too, where all the drillers in Invader were red and black. It seems every time they have Adrian Smith draw some art, they continue to limit his color choices. It's like, okay, now you only have 3 colors max. So, yeah, he's just going to be all one color. Or, oh yeah, that's a really cool Migo. Let's make them all orange. That's just the whole thing. No changes. And so they're very 1, 2, maybe 3 colors, mostly muted. And so I would much prefer to, it's all red. Let's do it all red. Just a little bit more variance into that. Yeah, we've seen these people. That being said, Artbook here, it looks cool. That is a cool character. Yeah, I dig it. I like seeing all the little blurbs about it and everything like that. Should be pretty good. See, that's kind of cool. That's fun. He's very serious about his pins, which I appreciate. I like kind of seeing that. These are my favorite back here. I love these. See, that's awesome. What a great picture. I love it. Very cool. All right, there's our art book. Let's get into the Kickstarter exclusives. All right, here's the Unspeakable box. We're going to speak about it. Again, just minis in a list. Because I think that's all there is. They don't typically add a... You know, I could have sworn they added some gameplay and stuff too. So maybe there's an extra few scenarios in here. Normally, and a lot of times, they'll just add characters. But I think here there's actually some more stuff. I have felt for a long time that Command picks the most boring characters to put in the core box, and then all the cool ones, all the interesting and unique ones are in expansions and the Kickstarter exclusive stuff. So let's see how I feel about that. I'm actually going to skip out on, well, you know what? No, because I want to comment on some of them. But like again, like with Invader, right? You know, you had like kind of very ho-hum. You know, just especially the civilians there were just so kind of boringly designed. And then you get like Black Ops, right? And you all have like trench coats and, you know, glowing weapons and cool stuff like that. And then of course you get the character packs where it's like these orphan kids are awesome and have a full character. And it's like, how can you have a world with such interesting characters and then they're all on paid add-ons and your other stuff in the core game is so boring? I wonder if that's on purpose. Come on, wouldn't do that, right? All right, we got Julia, we got Owl. Just Owl. I got Richard. Hey, I like him. He'd be fun to paint. I dig that. Olivia, Maki, Tina. You got quite a few here. I love kind of the splashes of colors that I think a lot can do. You can do a lot with that, especially Albert Einstein. Why not? Oh man, look at the gun on that one. That's cool. Playing the old lady would be fun, I think. Obviously, that's a cool guy. That'll be cool. I can't wait to see him. Almost there. Vincent, Gonk, and Josephine. Again, like this splash of color in the game, I think, especially with painted miniatures, would look really, really cool. All right, so we got that. And then here, this, again, why this isn't a Kickstarter exclusive, I don't know. Because this solves exactly what I was talking about. So anybody who gets this retail, well, you got screwed out of luck, or I'm sure Command might be willing to sell this for you for an added cost. So essentially, it looks like, I don't know if it goes in this way or if they... need instructions, because maybe it's like this. No, because that doesn't match, does it? No. Get a whole bunch up here. Maybe not. Maybe I'm looking at this wrong. There's some backs to it. See, here's the back. Very thin plastic here, but my assumption is, because I know here you can slot in, it must go this way. You can slot in the cards either here or here, right? And so then this must go like this. Here we go. Match it up. And now this is your character card. So again, there are ways where even if this is thin, where you still get a little bit of a lip, and this solves the problem. Like, this is great. This is fine. I'm okay with this. It feels a little on the... It feels like a solution that's homebrew to me. But I think it's a very cheap way to do it, and it's better than nothing. I will accept it and not yell at them at all about it, because I'm happy to have it. Thank you for solving my problem. In the future, you should throw a few of those into the retail box for the people that support you at retail. Some spacing here. I'll keep hold of that. Okay, I'm not going to open... Shoot, these are like big. What's the heck's in here? Oh, there's some miniatures in here. I might actually have to. So here's a Lost Episode 3. Lost Episode 1, 2, 3 just has some of that. Dagon. Let's look at some of the characters first. So we've gone back to a mix of clear and black. I don't know why. Why would you do this to me? Like, just pick one. I guess this would be a great way to show why I like the black and why I think it is far superior. Oh, come on now. All right, we're going to cut it again. All right. So here we have black and clear. So if I were to, just start taking them out. Oh gosh, there's a lid on this one. That's still taped on. Come on. Struggle's real, guys. So where half my videos is me frustratingly dealing with tape. Okay. I'll take a few out of here. Now, which shape can you see better? Now, if you're honest, or if you just happen to agree with me, you can see this better. The shapes here are just more obvious than the shapes here. And from what I can tell, I think it looks more obvious. Especially, this is one tray. When you have a line of them and there's like 80 different spots of open spaces, it can get rather difficult to figure out where people go. All right, but let's take a look at some of these minis. All right, so as I said, get that in focus. The characters you get in the stretch goals compared to, and I'm sure the expansions are like this too, compared to the retail, the core box, there's definitely an incentive put here. There's a reason this guy wasn't put in the core box. That's because he looks cool and you're going to want him, so you're going to want to get that Kickstarter exclusive or that expansion or whatever. Right? When you got, Buckeye Bill like this, it compared to, a nun with her hip slightly out. I mean, even like the queen here with her bent sword, just kind of a cool little differences here that make them really cool. The aviator lady, like, here's some personality, right? Here's some uniqueness in a character versus, who are you? I'm the dude that's standing in a T-pose with some fire. My opinion. I mean, look, Owl over here. Again, great miniature, very cool design. I like how far forward his waist is and he's back. He's definitely leading with his kind of waist versus, or he kind of just put his Tommy gun up on his shoulder, so he's kind of leaning back a little bit. He's got his gun out here too. Again, just a cool design. So this is, again, going back to that T-pose guy, same thing with the elbows up, though they're much farther up in an extreme way. And then instead of fire, it's guns. But then also, she's still, again, they always put the hip out on women. I don't know why, but whenever they sculpt women, it's like they don't know any other way to stand. But with one foot out and kind of the hip out to one side, it's whatever. But it's so common. It's kind of funny to notice that. And if the hip isn't out one way, it's out another. I want to see the doctor with a gun, because again, this is great, especially with her little kind of like curled hair and stuff like that. I like that one. Okay, so that's some of the characters there. Moving right along. I don't know why it's clear. I guess they made it clear so you can see it. I guess better. I don't know. All right, let's look at episode 1. Let's see the miniature in here. Now again, crappy box. I don't like. Crappy paint job. What the heck happened there? That's like you had one job, and that was to put some annoying tape on this. Because we all know that it's really important to tape the lid on inside of a box. So in here, by the way, it looks like you still get your tokens and stuff. But yeah, I'm sure that tape did a lot of good in this scenario. And just 3. So it showed here, yeah, just 3, okay. This is the other one I was looking at. But all 3 are unique, and that's kind of cool. I appreciate that. So here's a guy with what looks like, I don't even know what this is. Is it? Oh, that's just a strap that's hanging down there. I like that he's in his suit and he just kind of threw a mask on real quick. This guy, it looks like he has like a nylon face mask, which is hilarious. I dig that. And then this guy is like leaning a little bit to the side. Oh, he's got this huge blade coming out. And he kept his hat on, because that's really important when you have your skull mask, I feel. And when I keep my skull mask, I definitely want to make sure that that my hat is still there too. All right, put this back in as best we can. See, I hate doing this with the Oko Chronicles stuff too. I cannot stand these boxes. All right, crappy boxing experience. They're done. Move on to this one. This is the one I think with a bigger miniature in it. Again, taped while inside the box, just in case physics change and the lid can move with the box, or outside of it, or I don't know what they're thinking. And again, it looks like in this one you just get one clear, or one black tray, one clear. I have no idea how they decided which one to do what. It makes no sense to me. God forbid I can open these things. There we go. All right. I lied about the bigger miniatures. Oh, way down in here. Okay, so we got these guys here, whatever they are. I like the tentacle wrapped around the bottom. I think that's kind of, well, no, see, it's not a tentacle. It's like there's some, it's like a spilling out through this way for whatever reason. I think his lips maybe or something. I don't know. I'm not sure what's going on there. It's like really big tentacles and the claw things and suction cups over here. So each appendage has its own use. You don't want to have repeated use appendages. And then these kind of little tiny guys. These are smaller than I thought they'd be. They look like ant kind of dudes a little bit. Love that the wings are out. Outside texture is very minimal. Inside texture is very nice. Love the kind of bulb eye stuff going on here in the tongue. Again, a little plain maybe. Oh, I didn't even notice the legs here. In design, and they're it's not like he's just landing, or they're not in huge action shots. For the most part, they're just standing. I'm sure you guys are tired of hearing me complain about that, but that is really, I think, it's what prevented me, I think, from backing a lot of this stuff. Is just the design of the people are cool, but the implementation of the sculpt, I think, is boring. Not a lot of personality or character. None of them are telling a story. Just talked about Dawn of Madness with you guys and how amazing of a sculpt design all those miniatures are, and hopefully you can kind of appreciate what I mean by that. I think this went down like that. Will this go down like that too? Yeah, sure, why not? All right, let's look at Yogg Sothoth, whatever. Crappy box. All right, and bent. Okay, some more stuff. Wilbur. And the tape. Cut the tape, hopefully. Oh, should have been this one. All right. We got this guy here. Now, my understanding is that they kind of mixed this up a little bit from the story, but it is what it is, I guess. These are disgusting, and that's all I'm going to say about that. I love the hooved feet. Again, a little bit of assembly, assembly there to the base, but not a big deal. Tail was put on well. Love the hair, especially the balding top. The ears very defined, so I dig that. He's a little snarling. I can see his mouth and stuff, so that looks great. And then the brother here, well, yeah, let me see if I can find a face somewhere. I felt like there was a face hidden in here somewhere, maybe at some point, but who knows now. Lots of texture. Oh yeah, here's some faces on the feet. I can actually see the post right here, so this was not assembled quite well. Do you see that post? Yeah, you can see it. So that should have been pushed in more. So they just kind of slapped it on there and moved along. I get it's in a factory, but ideally we can put it to the base. If you base this and actually, paint it or whatever, you can fill this in with whatever mud or, whatever it is you're basing it at, whatever texture paint you want to put in there, or even putty or something like that. It's a quite easy fix as long as it's not too lopsided. Very cool. Love the teeth here. Very well sculpted and implemented here. The wrinkles here, super deep, really, really well done here. Great job on that. Yeah, this is a cool one. There's a lot of good detail there. All right. Looks like this, by the way, is the spot for your tokens once you punch them out. All right, last guy, last one. Let's get to it. Close the crappy box first. All right. And the Dagon. I have seen so many Dagons, and they all look so different. Crappy box opened. Thanks for the bend. All right. Looks like we get some more shark people. We already have some of that, so it looks like whatever scenario has the Dagon, you just need more of those. Don't even bother taking them out. But the Dagon here, look at that guy. Wow, that is just fun. That is a big miniature. I'm impressed with the size they're putting in a lot of these. They're definitely getting up. And it's so much nicer to paint big miniatures. It really is. The assembly here is one of the worst ones. I'm going to want to actually fill that in. It just wasn't quite pushed enough. You can see the space here kind of all along. They just needed to press down a little bit more when they put that on. But again, they're doing it kind of quick. Well, maybe they did it from this side because this side is pretty flush. They just didn't pinch over here. They pinched over here. You can't pinch in the middle because these are going to stab you and you're going to bleed. My goodness, those are kind of pokey. Texture here is really cool. That'll actually show up pretty well in the paint. I like that. I like that he's wrapped around everything. His rows of teeth look great. I like that he's looking up a little bit. The tongue coming up is a nice touch versus going down like we would expect it to. Fin looks good. Yeah, this is just a cool mini. Very cool mini. All right, well, let's go ahead and take a look at these in detail, and I will catch up to you guys over there. All right, now here you can see them in a lot closer detail, and as you can see, some are really, really good. Like this kind of gypsy tarot card fortune teller lady is just fantastic. I really love her multi-layered dress and sharp knife and all that. But then you kind of have the goggle-glassed, nun there, and of course Mr. T-Pose himself, where he's just literally standing there with instead of his arms straight out, he's bent a little bit. The Indiana Jones guy in no action pose, the guy walking with his gun up, no action pose, the little girl that's falling over holding a book in no action pose, Velma from Scooby-Doo in an action pose, so that's kind of nice to see. And then this old lady, she has no idea how to hold a gun. I mean, the character idea and concept around them is interesting. The actual sculpt is a little plain, and a lot of that has to do with the single cast, right? And so they can't get too dynamic, because if they go too 3D, three-dimensional in it, and not instead of just kind of standing flat with arms to their sides, you lose the ability to do that, and you have to do multi-piece and then assemble it, which does cost more. The plastic quality, though, looks great. I mean, like that Indiana Jones dude, while it's a boring sculpt, it looks really nice. Like the ripples on his shirt, and I mean the dude's bow tie there, and they all have faces, and I'm talking like actual eyes and cheekbones and brow ridges and lips and the whole shebang. All their fingers are actually quite good, and they're not too stubby either. Sometimes you get a little inflated hands there, but they seem to actually fit pretty well. For the most part, I'm pretty happy with them. Like the little fingers on the handle of the gun there, for instance, I think is really good. Moving on to these guys, as I said, that detail on the face is far, far too shallow. They should have really exaggerated that. So when they're making a 3D render, when they actually cast the plastic, it'll shrink a little bit. It's actually one of the ways to get it out of the steel mold. And so because there's shrinkage, that also means that any details you do are going to get shallower. And so what you do in the actual sculpt is you exaggerate them. You make it bigger and thicker so that when it shrinks, it's the right size. Another thing I was surprised to see is the boring winged dude that's just standing there with his arms to the side, like they all do, is actually a multi-piece. So his head, because it juts out so much, as you can see, actually had to be assembled there. So they had to pay for assembly on him anyway. So it's rather unfortunate that they didn't, at least put his wings back maybe, or arch his back more if it's going to be that way anyway, or outstretch an arm or something. I mean, if you're going to glue a head on, glue at least one of the arms on and don't just put it to your side. And then of course you have these guys, and they have the same mouth, I think, on all of them. They're just kind of looking to the right with their mouths open. So both of them are looking to the right with their mouth open, and then the winged dude, again, looking to the right with the mouth open. I don't know what's up with that, but it's really kind of annoying. Once I noticed it, which was right away, it became kind of annoying. The other guys though are actually pretty good. I like that. And like this dude here with his neck upturned, also looking to the right, but it's upturned. I'll give him credit. Both arms, because they go in front of him, you can't have that negative space, multi-part, and I think it's actually one of the more dynamic pieces there, which is kind of good. Now, the detail level they can get out of this plastic is always impressive. As you can see, this guy is multi-assembly. When you look close like this, you can see several different parts because, again, of all that negative space, it's just a requirement. But those ridges came out great. It's going to take a wash. Fantastic. This guy as well, I think dry brushing is probably out of the question just because I don't think those ridges are enough. So you have to highlight that by hand, but it would look glorious if you did. And then, of course, this fire vampire. I don't know how it's a vampire. That's weird to me. I don't see any fangs, or it's not going to suck my blood that I know of. I don't know much about these things, but again, kind of a very interesting design and sculpt. I like all of these. I think these guys are great. Painting the bone plates on this guy here would be terrible, and I would absolutely hate to do it. Just because getting your brush in there and getting every single ridge around and inside and outside and on the edges, and it'd be very time consuming and annoying, but it would look really cool afterwards, depending on the art. Again, the art, if you paint per the art, you get like 3 colors, so who knows. Hastur, I really love. This is still probably my favorite one out of the bunch, though. What can I say? This guy's just cool. I love all the tentacles, and they look gross and nasty. There's a little bit of cleanup involved, but not too bad. I think the
the different textures he has, both on the lower part and then just his robe around, especially as it flows over those top tentacles, I really, really like. He would look fantastic painted, especially with that bright yellow and then getting to this kind of nastiness with like reds and purples, I'm imagining. I don't remember exactly how the art looked, but that's what I would try to do. The Tommy gun nun person is also, I believe, all in yellow, and they have a little bit of flash on there, but otherwise, again, still great quality detail-wise. In the assembly, you can see a little bit there, slightly lackluster there when it came to the fit. That's a really hard one to do because you're essentially wedging it between those tentacles. So you almost need to glue the middle part in and then wedge those tentacles in, and then, but the middle part's already, it's just kind of a more difficult assembly. So I think they did good with what they had. I'm not sure I would have done better, and I'm not doing like 1,000 of these a day at a factory somewhere, so who am I to complain? Cthulhu himself was one of the most dynamic poses in this game. He has his arm reached out. I know, it's crazy. His tentacles are moved to the side too. It's almost like he just moved. Pretty crazy. He also has like some of the worst assembly ever when it comes to that. They tried to make it form into a ridge, and maybe with some gap fill, you can pass it off as another fold in his skin. The problem is it's so much deeper than all the other folds that it's just painfully obvious, and it goes straight across his bum there and straight across the front of his belly, and it's just a huge bummer that it's like that. The star whatever thing that is, I actually really like that with the tentacles coming straight out like that. I think that one's really, really cool. I like that. It's probably my favorite not regular enemy, but non-Elder One enemy. I think he's cool, but yeah, I think Cthulhu did good. His wings are a little bit larger than I think is probably warranted, but it's still a very interesting sculpt. Again, just that assembly. I know what they were trying to do with the ridges, but again, with how shallow all the rest, it's not. I mean, the ridges are fine. It's just that's so much deeper that to me, it's very obvious, at least unpainted. Hopefully painted to be better. This guy's arms, turned out all right assembly, but man, that line across you don't put a line across the booty, at least not horizontal. Nobody has anyway. Yeah. Moving on. Now the stretch goal characters, all of these are automatically cooler than the rest. I don't know why they don't want to have cool characters in their retail boxes. It beats me. I don't get it. Especially when they're Kickstarter exclusives. I get putting the cool ones in an add-on pack and then have all the dumb ones there so you want to spend more money on command products. But this one, I mean, I guess so you get the Kickstarter version or whatever, but each one of these are just... well, not each one of these, but most of these have a lot more personality than the other. Like the chick with the two guns to the side and kind of the dress and like the bobbed haircut, or freaking Al Capone with a gun, to his side, and then the big one on top and his hat, which is a little thick for my taste, but it's still pretty darn good. You have like the nurse lady who's like hunched over with the gun and the nursing thing. Just the fur coat lady that's coming up with again this kind of huge gun, long barrel and everything. While she, again, a lot of them are just standing there like that fur coat lady. She's just standing there, knees not even bent. She's just plain standing, but at least she has a cool gun. It's a little bit more personality, I feel, to them for the most part. But again, the detail level is really impressive. It's some great plastic and some great molds were made here. You can see a little bit of bent bases, but just slightly. You don't notice them when you put them down, really, so it's not too bad. Now, this guy's disgusting. I never even noticed his, mouth feet with tongues. That's amazing. I really like that. Again, he's just kind of one color, two colors, really. He's like this pinkish red and then this kind of buff color, off-white color everywhere else, but he is pretty disgusting. He does have a face, which is cool too. Ideally, if you're painting him, you can somehow highlight the face so it's more noticeable, because with all the twists and turns, it's not really noticeable. This other guy, though, he's disgusting. He's just gross, and I'm okay with that, but I don't know if I want to paint him either, because he's nasty. But yeah, again, very multi-part here, so it's kind of funny to me that on the monsters, they'll spend a lot of time paying for those extra casts, paying for the assembly at the factory to have a more dynamic piece. And then the heroes, they just do it so plain. When I come from, reviewing some, Limbo Eternal War miniatures or some Celestial stuff or anything like that from these other games. Even Awakened Realms does much more dynamic miniatures, even if the assembly is sometimes like this, where sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. At least it's more visually interesting. And as long as the assembly is good enough to where I can fix it with some putty and some primer and I can paint it, I'm typically pretty okay with it. I'll definitely be a lot more forgiving if it gives me a cool miniature versus, even the winged guy that's just standing there with his head being extra. I don't care that his head's extra. It's still a static pose. And the Dagon, I mean, he is so cool. I really like this one. I think he's really great. He has, again, some of the worst assembly on the end of that tail. That's just not good. It sucks. I'm gonna have to actually sculpt a bulge in his ridge, at the top, his plating there to try and make it kind of work, I guess. Kind of unfortunate, but again, as a miniature, very cool. I love how he takes up almost all of the base on the sides, how he's definitely overflowing the base everywhere else. Just a cool miniature. All the teeth look great. The inside of the mouth is sculpted. It's not flat in there. There's ridges and whatnot. So it's a well sculpted one as well as a kind of a more or less well made one too. Again, a few assembly things, but then the assembly at the front part here is almost perfect. It's about as good as you can get. So I'm pretty happy with that too. It's just that tail that they kind of botched there by the looks of it. Painting down below is going to be kind of hard, but anyway, that's all the miniatures that I'm going to show you. There's some in the kind of season or episode cases, but I don't want to do any spoilers in case you're sensitive to that. And they're not super noteworthy anyway. So miniature quality, come on, is doing a better and better job with their PVC, and I'm very impressed with it. I like to see a little bit more ABS used where it makes sense. But I didn't notice any bent parts or anything too. Instead, the swords are just really thick and stuff like that. The assembly could use improvement, and I want to see more of it. But detail-wise, it's really, really cool, especially these monsters. And as always, thanks so much to my patrons. Without them, I would not be able to do the quality of videos that I am doing that I did all throughout 2019 and all of my future plans in 2020. There's some big things coming up on the channel. I've posted a little bit about it on my Patreon so they kind of know what's coming up and what I'm thinking about, and I can get their feedback on it and stuff like that. Really make it nice and good for you all. But some new video series that I'm really excited about as well. So looking forward to this year. It's going to be great, guys. Alright, again, thanks so much for watching. I always appreciate it. Subscribe if you want to see more stuff like this, reviews, unboxings, Kickstarter news and details, all that jazz. Alright, enough of the outro stuff. Have a great day.